Welcome back to the Morning Blend. In 2017, Karen and Larry sold their home and almost everything they owned to buy an RV and hit the road for more than a year. But not too long into their journey, Karen knew something had changed about Larry. At first, they thought it was depression, but later, a diagnosis revealed a form of dementia in younger people and early stage Alzheimer's. June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Karen joins us along with Jennifer McAlister with the Alzheimer's Association. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
It's so nice. Good morning. Good morning. It's so nice to have you both joining us. I think people hear more and more about Alzheimer's. They hear about dementia. And I wonder how the pandemic has affected people who are living with it as well as their caregivers.
Sure. Well, I can go ahead and answer that. You know, we have a number of people in Wisconsin who are living with this diagnosis, 120,000 people over the age of 65, and another 195,000 people who are providing 223 million hours of unpaid caregiving. And so this pandemic has really, I think the biggest thing it's done is interrupted their daily routine. The things that caregivers and people living with this diagnosis had available to them for care and support services and social engagement have just not been available to them right now.
And I think that would be so hard. Karen, talk about what you noticed with Larry when you were on the road that made you concerned.
Well, a lot of it was just that he was becoming more uncomfortable with the new places that we were going. I noticed him withdrawing more. A lot of the decisions that needed to be made and the things that needed to be taken care of fell to me, which was unusual for him.
Yeah, and so he was initially diagnosed with depression. Was there something that made you think it was more than that?
Well, prior to even when we went onto the road, I had started to notice that there were little memory things that were slipping. And I don't know, it was mostly just a gut feeling that there was something more going on. Just after having been married for 38 years, I knew him pretty well.
Was he expressing frustration with what was going on? Was he sort of aware that something wasn't right?
He was. Larry's tagline for a long time was "Every day's a new day" for Larry.
Yeah. How about you? How do you deal with the disappointment? You plan to live the rest of your life with this man that you've been married to for such a long time. You hit the road in an RV. It was a lifelong dream. How do you deal with that part of it?
You know, that's a process. Earlier on the show, there was some talk about grief, and there's definitely a grieving process that you have to go through over the loss of what you thought your retirement was going to look like. But I guess I try to keep things in perspective, and I really feel like change is the only constant in the world. And so you have to find a way to just adapt and move forward.
I love the quote I read that you said about moving forward. I know that, excuse me, you're settled now. Are you getting good support from family, excuse me, as well as the Alzheimer's Association?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We have a son and daughter-in-law that live here close by, and as well as, our other son who lives in Virginia, and extended family are always there to help support. We have some friends that are good support as well.
Are there any tips you'd give to other caregivers?
I think that it was interesting. I was watching the beginning of the show, and I think that your therapist was spot on when she reminded people to breathe. I think with everything that's going on, it's important to kind of step back from the noise and try to keep things in perspective. Look for moments of grace and ways that you can be grateful. I think the biggest tip really, though, is to take care of yourself first. When you take an airplane ride, they tell you to put your mask on first and then help your child or whatever. And I think that is so important. Everybody needs to be proactive about that, letting go of expectations, asking for help, and really seeking support. I know the Alzheimer's Association has been really quite a big part of that for me. When I run out of my creative ideas for trying to help our situation, I know that they're there for me 24/7, 365 to help me navigate those changes.
And good for you for being willing to take care of yourself and ask for help too. Jen, I'm interested in what kind of services are available from the Alzheimer's Association, maybe things that people aren't aware of, not just for the patient, but for the caregivers too, like Karen.
Sure, absolutely. So the association has, always had support groups and education programs and care consultation services, our 24/7 helpline, and just a wide range of resources available online. What we've been able to do is shift in this during this pandemic and move everything to virtual offerings. And I think the thing that Karen showcases is that she has always been very proactive in reaching out for support. And when this pandemic hit, she didn't let go of any of that support. She hasn't missed one support group meeting that's been offered virtually. She has taken part in multiple care consultations to really take a deep dive and look at the different ways to approach this situation in this new kind of landscape that we have. And so, I would just encourage people to reach out and make a call and see what happens. If you don't know what you need, you won't get the help that you need. And so if you're feeling unsettled or you feel like you just need to talk to somebody, the Alzheimer's Association is really there to help you navigate this, not just today, but in the days ahead, in the years ahead. And so that's really what we're positioned to do, is to help people for the long haul.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jen. And Karen, you're a bright, shining example of what somebody can do as a caregiver, but also in reaching out to other caregivers and being a role model for them. So thank you both so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Okay, so on June 20th, the day of the year with the most light, thousands of volunteers across the nation will join an event called The Longest Day to raise funds to fight the darkness of Alzheimer's and dementia. For more information or to find support, please call the toll-free number that you see there on your screen. You can also visit them online. It's alz.org/WI.